Hey everyone! I figured I'd post a quick update today because today is 1 year since I had my diagnosis of stage 3 triple negative breast cancer. It's been a journey, so I just wanted to recap kind of what I've been through so far this year and what we're doing next. So again, July 18th, 2023 was when I received a phone call early in the morning that my biopsy came back positive for breast cancer. I didn't yet know the stage or the type, but I knew that it was breast cancer. And so I think it was the next day I met with the surgeon, and the day after that I met with the medical oncology team, and it was stage 3 triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma. And so our plan initially was to start with chemo, 20 weeks of chemo IV infusions, along with immunotherapy for a year, and followed by surgery and then radiation. And after that, we would, from that point, we'll figure out what we do from there. And so we had our 12 weeks of paclitaxel and carboplatin, followed by then that was every week, followed by 8 weeks of the Red Devil, which is adriamycin or doxorubicin with Cytoxan. That was every other week. And during that time, we were doing Keytruda as well. And the Keytruda, I had 5 infusions. If you haven't been following my channel, I had 5 infusions before we stopped. We stopped mainly because it shut down my adrenal function. So it has damaged my pituitary gland, which no longer produces ACTH to tell my adrenal glands to produce cortisol. So I don't make my own cortisol anymore. They tell me this is permanent and I need to take daily replacement steroids, wear a medical alert ID, and carry an emergency injection with me. I also need to updose my steroids for any physical or emotional stress. So if you're on this journey and you're taking Keytruda, that's the immunotherapy that I was on, I probably still would have made the choice to do that because, triple negative breast cancer is very aggressive. So Keytruda is one of those kind of game changer treatments that has made the survival rates much better. But I don't feel like I was fully prepared for the adrenal insufficiency. We didn't know that that's what was happening. So I just want to recap for everybody to be aware of the symptoms. Make sure they're checking your cortisol and ACTH levels along with the rest of your blood work when you go for chemo. They check, your immune system, they check your platelets, they check your neutrophils. They should be checking your cortisol if you're taking Keytruda. And then for me, the symptoms were extreme fatigue. I was basically sleeping 18 hours a day. I could only be awake for maybe an hour or two before I needed to sleep again. Dizziness or lightheadedness when I stood up or if I had any kind of physical activity, including just walking from the couch to the bathroom. A little nausea. It wasn't bad. The nausea was not severe. Even with chemo, it wasn't severe. But there was some nausea, some abdominal pain or flank pain. And that was really it until one day I, passed out at home and had to be taken by ambulance to the hospital and had to spend 4 days in the hospital on IV steroids. So be aware of the side effects and don't take it lightly when they happen. Like, it could be life-threatening. It could be fatal to have an adrenal crisis. So really important on that. But again, I probably still would have taken the risk. I just wish I was better prepared when it happened. And I would say that dealing with that and learning to manage living with adrenal insufficiency is going to be for the rest of my life. And that is the most life-altering aspect of this whole journey so far. So definitely you want to go into that with your eyes open. After IV chemo was completed, those 20 weeks of chemo were completed, I had about a month to heal, and then I had my first of 2 surgeries, which was a partial mastectomy and axillary dissection because it was in my lymph nodes as well. The tumors in the breast, there were 2 tumors in my left breast, and both of those tumors had no evidence of cancer in them. When they removed the tissue where the tumors had been, it was gone. So the chemo and the immunotherapy worked in that regard. It did get rid of the tumors in the breast. However, in the lymph nodes, they removed 9 lymph nodes, and in 3 of them, there were still isolated tumor cells. So the recommendation from there would have been to restart the immunotherapy, the Keytruda, which I declined for the adrenal issues, but also the potential for other long-term permanent issues. It can cause thyroid issues or type 1 diabetes. And it also did flare autoimmune issues for me. And so I just, from a quality of life standpoint, did not want to do that. And even the surgeon and the medical oncologist agree. They said, it's probably done its job, what it's going to do. Anyway, there are currently clinical trials studying whether or not it's even helpful to give Keytruda post-surgical. So they were all comfortable with my declining further immunotherapy, but what we did decide to do was oral chemo. So I'm currently, I've done 2 cycles so far. So the plan was initially 6 months of oral chemo, which is Xeloda, and it was supposed to be 2 weeks on, 1 week off. I've done 2 cycles so far. Actually, my first cycle was June 3rd to June 10th, which was 2 weeks on. And the second week was pretty brutal. I had a lot of side effects. Those side effects have been affecting me a lot more even than the oral chemo did. So what we did is I took 3 weeks off after that first cycle. We had a family trip planned, and so they said, don't take it while you're going to be on your trip. Wait until you come back. So the second cycle was July 2nd to July 15th. So just this past Monday was my last day of the second 2-week cycle. And again, the second week was pretty intense as far as the accumulation of side effects. So I don't want to have my finger in there. So what we have decided to do, my medical oncologist has decided to kind of scale back a little bit. So I am on 1,500 milligrams twice a day of Xeloda, and we're going to, this week I'm off, but starting next week, we're going to do 1 week on, 1 week off. So just 7 days. And hopefully I won't get to the point in the cycle where I have really more than a little fatigue. So in the first week, that's really all it is some fatigue, which could be adrenal related. I think that the stress on the body that the chemo gives me contributes to the adrenal insufficiency lows. I've had to up my steroids during that. So definitely, watching that, but hopefully the 7-day on, 7-day off cycle will work a little bit better. And then I will have my next surgery, which is the reconstructive surgery on the other side, on the right breast, in October, at the end of October. So we are 1 year in. I have a good 6 months to go as far as active cancer treatments. But, the cancer right now, even though there were some isolated tumor cells in that first surgery, what they removed those. And so we don't really know, if there's anything left in the body, but I feel pretty good. Overall, I don't seem to have any progression of disease. So we'll see. This is my hair growth. It's still not long enough for me to do anything with except wet it and make it look crazy. It's not really long enough to color yet. Can't wait to color my hair again. I've been coloring my hair since I was like 12 or 13. So this dark color with the gray in it it's not me. So we'll see what I can do with my hair when it grows in just a little bit more. But that's pretty much it. That's my update. 10 minutes. I love it. I made it.